Hey, everybody. Absolutely stunning news over here this week. We have a video version of this week's episode available on our Patreon, which is patreon.com/late night. Go over there, sign up at any tier, and you'll have access to it. Once again, that's patreon.com/late night. Now, enjoy the show.
Every once in a while, though, Arin pops up with a new gadget that like catches my eye.
Oh yeah, the fucking TV glasses. That shit's amazing.
Glasses.
Talk to me about TV glasses.
I was on Twitter or something, and there was like an ad for like AR glasses, and they weren't advertising the AR aspect of it so much because it sucks. As much as it's just like a 1080p screen that you can just wear glasses, and it's like it projects.
It's like one thing, or it's like two glasses?
So when you put on the glasses, it's just USB-C, whatever device, Android or whatever. If you just plug it in, it just instantly works. And you plug it in, you put it on, and then it makes it look like there's like a 200-inch TV in front of you, 1080p, crystal clear. It's amazing.
In case you wanted to be more in your phone.
I do it to play video games and stuff.
Right. But you could put your phone into it?
Yeah. So like,
I was thinking about like doing like meditations with it. It'd be so cool. Like you could have any visual. Cool.
But because it was made to be AR, like the default is that it puts the screen like in front of you, and then you can see through it, right? And you can see the world around you. But it comes with little like a blackout thing that you can put on, so it's just a screen. And I played through like the last half of Chrono Trigger on it, and it was one of the greatest experience. I was just laying in bed, like completely on my, just playing it, and it's just like right up here. It follows me wherever I go. It's called the Nreal Air.
Nreal Air. Okay.
It looks stupid as hell, but it's amazing.
It's so cool.
We did a field trip today with Audrey's school, and I was talking with another parent. Like, I am scared about pulling the VR trigger with her. Like, you know what I mean? And because it's like, she plays video games quite a bit, and which is fine with me. I mean, and of course we limit it, but it's like, that feels like for a kid moving to another level. And I'm curious when, like, if it was just me and Rachel, I wouldn't care, but having that in the house, we did the Nintendo Labo, however you say it.
Yeah.
Which was like a mini step in that direction.
That was a while ago though.
It was a while. I mean, that was probably like 4 or 5 years ago or something. And it's cool. Like, she really liked it at the time, but there's a lot of stuff going on with that. Right. You have to like hold the thing up.
It's kind of advanced.
Yeah. Putting the thing together is fun. Did you ever do those? Did you ever put one together?
Game Grumps did around the office, and it was pretty involved. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, if I was a kid, I would flip out over this because this is so cool. But as an adult, I was like, I get it. And then moved on. Honestly,
that's kind of what it was. And this was, a few years ago. So like, even like how old was she? Probably 5 or 6 at the time. Even at 6, she thought it was awesome for like a day, and then never went back to it. She much rather would play Mario Kart or, whatever else.
She knows what she likes. Yeah.
Yes, she knows what she likes. That gamer is Minecrafting now.
Oh, so she's a Minecrafter now. Well, Super Mario World's opening. I thought she was a huge Mario fan.
Well, actually, so I have not told her this yet, but she and Rachel have annual passes because they got them when I was out of town on tour. So I got them reservations. Rachel knows, but Audrey doesn't. To one of the preview days for Nintendo World. Yeah,
she's gonna explode with happiness.
Couple of weeks. Yes,
wow.
That's fantastic.
We watched the video of the one in Japan, and she like lost her entire mind over it. So
I can just see her now, like all the little like punch up squares and like all the restaurants and oh my God.
She knows that there's one here, right?
Yes. Oh, she knows there's one here, and she knows that it's like very drivable from where we live. They went to Universal Studios with another friend, I don't know, a couple months ago, in the last few months, and you can see it. It's right there. They're building it, and they have stuff in the gift store all ready for it. She talks about it a lot, how it's going to open up any day. So
that's amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and they're going to get to work on the Donkey Kong one too.
What's the Donkey Kong one? Is there a separate Donkey Kong World?
Yeah. So when the plans leaked, it was like a miniature, which was like fully fleshed out. And so that was like the big leak. And then next to the Mario one, there's a full same size Donkey Kong world.
Really? I had no idea.
They haven't said anything about it publicly, but that was part of the leak.
Wait, even in Japan, they don't have this, or they do?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they have the Mario world, but not the Donkey Kong world.
Right.
And they haven't started building anything.
I swear I've seen photos of it though. The mock-ups, like those have been leaked.
It's just the model is all that's out, and that was a leak. Like we're not supposed to have seen that model.
Wow.
Oh my god. So you can like jump through the warp pipe and go to different worlds. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, maybe.
Or like a Tropical Freeze or Donkey Kong Country minecart ride or something like that.
I think there's definitely like minecart imagery.
Yeah. I'm very excited. So we'll be there if all goes according to plan. In like 2 weeks, they will experience Super Nintendo World.
That is amazing.
In LA. Well, you guys grew up like near a theme park. I didn't grow up near a fucking theme park. It's like insane to me, the idea of, it's just right there. This is so reachable from where we live now. But I mean, that was pretty de rigueur for you guys, right?
We grew up in Florida, so
that's what I mean.
Kind of surrounded by theme parks. I grew up with a Busch Gardens pass.
Oh.
Basically, we dropped off at Busch Gardens with my twin sister every day during summer break, and we would just go and look at all the animals and ride all the rides.
Right,
and we knew that park inside out.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's an amazing park. Like, if you ever get a chance to go to Busch Gardens in Florida, always a good experience. And it was nice and clean and safe. I don't think they would like people to leave their kids there these days, though.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's definitely like a step above like a Knott's Berry Farm, because the coasters there are like really awesome. And a lot of them were like award winning when they first came out. So,
really?
Like, I think
like
Montu. Yeah.
They had like a bunch of Egyptian artifacts and recreations too. They like recreated King Tut's tomb and like all the treasures, and they had all kinds of like really cool sideshow pieces with that.
That's awesome.
I don't know. I really learned a lot from Busch Gardens. I think going to a theme park as a kid was really cool.
For us, like most people, it was a special trip, and we only ever went to the Orlando parks. And that was like, I mean, if we did that more than twice when I was a kid, I'd be surprised. It might have been 3 times, but I feel like it was twice.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I can tell you, I may have mentioned this to you at some point in the past. I remember the last time we went, I guess I would have been 9, because I remember coming 1986, The Living Seas, very clearly on a board. And that was just when I was old enough we were in Epcot, and my parents would let me take my sister in, at night when the park had kind of cleared out a bit. And I remember going on the Imagination ride.
Oh, the
Journey into Imagination.
Figment?
Yes. With Figment before they completely fucked it up. Yeah. Original Figment ride.
Oh, damn. Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah. I feel like that can be said for so many rides there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, were you with us, Arin, when we went through on tour?
I'm not sure.
I feel like I remember sitting next to you in Ellen's Energy Adventure and falling asleep.
Yeah, that's when we were all tired. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Because we all went to Epcot, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So I remember being so excited for Journey into Imagination, because I assumed it hadn't changed since 40 years ago. And I was like, what the fuck? Is that Eric Idle? Or whoever it was.
Yeah, they had fucking Kramer in it.
Right, yes. Yeah.
Is it still there? I thought they took it out.
No, I think they tore it down.
Yeah.
The thing I remember the most about it is it's a journey into the senses. And then the entrance into 2 of the senses, like feel and taste, are blocked off. They're like, those doors don't work. As part of the ride, like as part of the design of the ride, it was like textbook, set up a promise, set up an expectation, and fail to keep it.
Did you know that Arin and I used to work at a Disney theme park?
I did, but I don't know anything about your actual experience doing it.
Well, I made a cartoon about it.
Okay, so I would like to talk about that, because you and I haven't really talked about it that much, except over email chains with 12 other people.
Yeah.
But let's talk about working at the theme park, and then we can talk about the show. But actually first, look, I'm going to be professional, which I've tended to be over the last couple of episodes. I want to introduce the show right now. This is Late Night with Brian Wecht. But
wow.
Leighton has thank you. I appreciate that. Leighton is taking a few weeks off, and we have a guest co-host for the next few episodes. I don't know exactly how many, but it's going to be a bunch. everybody, Suzy Berhow.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm just stepping in just for a little bit, just for a couple episodes while Leighton's on her break. So just thought I'd step in. And the first person, that came to mind to invite on the show would be Arin, of course.
Why is that?
Well, because we both did on Leighton night before, and we both really love the show. And it's always a joy to come back. We talk about it all the time, especially our favorite segment, What's Poppin'.
Oh, don't give it away. Don't give it away. Everyone loves What's Poppin', of course. It's our flagship segment. And I promise you we will get to that, but not right now.
The theme song is my favorite. Yeah. It's
believe me. It's new and improved for 23. So I think you're really going to be pleased with it this time. It's very, very exciting stuff. I could talk about it for the whole episode and am tempted to do so, but I feel like that would be a great way to alienate everybody. So
that's your favorite thing. I'm surprised this podcast hasn't gone directly in that direction since the beginning.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised you haven't renamed it to be like Brian Night and like it's finally your time to like just do all of the sketches and things you've been wanting to do.
To finally push Leighton out because of, she's been a millstone around my neck for the entire run of this show, so I can finally do the things I want to do.
The time is nigh.
That's true. But as you mentioned, Suzy, we do have a special guest this week who is a past guest on the show and someone that you know pretty well. Guest, who are you?
My name is Arin Hanson. I'm from Game Grumps, and I am also Suzy's husband. We have been together for a long time.
For a long time.
Yes. And I'm also your bandmate in Starbomb.
That's true. Yes. I think we mentioned this at some point on the NSP tour, but there's Starbomb news we can discuss if you want.
Go for it. I let you have that.
Watch this. News. Watch this. Stay tuned for Starbomb news. You got to listen to the episode.
That's kind of rude.
The Starbomb news is going to be at the very end, but not like the very, very end.
That's right.
We don't want you to just skip to it and find it.
No.
Here's what I'm going to promise. After 2/3 of the way through the episode, that's where at least some of the Starbomb news will be.
Correct.
We might breadcrumb this. Here's what I'm going to do. This will be really alienating. This is a good idea. I'm going to write out a statement, which we will read one word at a time randomly throughout the episode, so people can't just hear it. This is a really bad idea. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, Starbomb news. Okay. I'm going to drop the first word right now. Here, you know what? It's a short here. I'll text both of you the sentence, which is, it's a barn burner of a sentence. There it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Now this is broadcasting. Okay. I'm going to start with the first word now.
Yeah.
We.
Okay.
So we don't say the second word.
I'm not going to.
Do you want me to tell you when to say the second word? Or do you want to, and Suzy, we can alternate so we can all say it.
Yeah,
you both have it. I think we should. Do you want to just use your best judgment and figure out when to say it?
Well, I want to use my best judgment. I want to just throw it out there. Yeah.
Great. Because I constructed, you know what? I fucking did a great job with this. I'm going to take some points for myself, give myself some credit here. The last word is important. It's not filler. The sentence, like every few words, there's a big revelation. So you couldn't stop this sentence like partway through and really understand the importance.
You really worked out a real mastermind puzzle here.
I really did. And by the way, when we say the next word, we shouldn't review the previous word. So that previous word.
Yeah. You have to decoder ring it like a Christmas Story.
Yes, that's exactly right. Now, some jerk, and I'll be frank about that, is going to leak the timestamps.
Or write it in the comments.
That's true, or write in the comments. I'm going to say right now, those are not true Late Night fans.
Yeah.
Those are fake fans. Real fans, listen to the episode.
Fans.
That's a call out, and I appreciate that. You bring the same energy that I like to bring to Game Grumps.
Yeah, alienating.
Yeah.
That's right.
Just out like, the fans. Fuck everybody. You know what? You guys are weird.
It should be harder to be here than it should be to leave.
Exactly.
Yeah, you should be.
And that makes you stronger for being a fan, and I respect you for it.
That's right. Media should be an endurance test, not something you enjoy, right?
Oh no, you want to see the real color of someone's character.
Yeah, thank you, Suzy. That's exactly right. This podcast's a character building experience. It's not for entertainment. It's for self-improvement.
soul searching.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to hear more about working at these theme parks that you were talking about.
Oh, man. I didn't have a good experience.
So this is at Disney World or where?
Yeah. When I was a senior in high school, we had somebody from Disney college program come to our high school and like try to recruit kids to come work at the parks. Cause like they're running out of people to run those parks. Like everyone in Florida has worked at those parks and have either been mistreated and left or fired or whatever. So they're just trying to get the new workforce right when they're coming up.
Right. Before you know better.
Yeah. So they offered a college program where you get college credits and you get to go to Disney College and you get to live at Disney and you work at Disney. And Disney College was like hospitality classes, and working at the park was hellish. And
what a shock.
Basically, I got 1 day off a week if I requested it. I only got minimum wage.
If you requested it?
Yeah, it was an internship. So they were allowed to do a lot of things that I think were not supposed to be done. And I hear it's different now. But yeah, I did not have a good time. It's different when, you see Mickey backstage and they're taking their head off and it's a girl yelling at her mom on her phone and smoking, like it just kind of ruins it for you.
Yeah, that's usually a mini thing.
Yeah. But, I will say my love for the parks has come back. It took a long time. I was angry for a long time after leaving, but the magic has slowly resumed. But I still don't think that they treat their employees quite right.
That seems to be the consensus. Yeah. Am I correct that Magic Kingdom is far superior to Disneyland?
Oh,
that was always my experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
I mean, so like Disneyland was the prototype. Disney World was like what they wanted it to be. So they bought all the land they wanted. And Disney World is actually on the second floor. The first floor is the tunnels.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So like you can't have somebody walk into work in Tomorrowland and Frontierland close. So they have the tunnels so everybody can come into work, get into costumes, do whatever they need to do, and then walk to their parks.
That's in both Magic Kingdom and Disneyland, or just
in Magic Kingdom?
Disneyland I think has one tunnel,
tunnels?
like one.
Yeah.
But Magic Kingdom has like a whole network that connects the whole park.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they're kind of
they have like little trams and stuff down there to get around and stuff. It's like a whole operation.
It's like the Capitol.
It feels like, in Independence Day when they're all like in those like bunkers and shit. That's exactly what it feels like.
Huh. Yeah. So you guys had to go through that to work there. You were in there.
I did. Arin worked at, what's it called now?
It's called Disney's Hollywood Studios, but it was called Disney MGM Studios when I worked there.
And they didn't have tunnels. Instead, they had like massive racks of bikes. And you could just grab a bike and then bike to where you needed to go backstage and then just leave it there. And then the next person would just pick up a bike and then ride it around. There was just communal bikes back there. I thought that was kind of cool.
That's a cool idea.
Nice. Yeah. It was always a bummer when there was no bikes. Like you showed up for like the 3 p.m. shift or whatever, and there was just no bikes. And you're like, you got to walk all the way over there.
Did you also have a bad experience there, Arin?
I guess. Yeah. It wasn't because of Disney, though. I mean, it was a job.
And you were a teenager at the time.
Yeah. And awkward and strange. And I wanted a job. So, when I went in, there's like a big hiring facility. You talked about that, right?
No, I just mentioned that there was a person who came to my high school. But yeah, I went to many auditions with Arin at the big hiring facility at Disney in Florida.
Yeah, so there's a building where they do all the hiring, and it's huge. And the kind of joke there is you walk in and then you walk out with a job. Like, it doesn't matter.
They've got something for everybody, and they need
humans. You'll get a job if you go in there. So I went in there, and I was like, I want to work rides, and I do voice stuff. So I want to do a ride where I can talk a lot. And they were like, okay, well, you have 2 choices. You can do the safari ride at Animal Kingdom, where you have to like drive a truck around like live animals.
Yep.
Or there's a ride called the Backlot Tour at Disney MGM Studios, where you just kind of drive a tram and go through all these different like movie props and stuff. And the safari ride paid $1 more an hour. And I was like, whoa, okay. But I got nervous. I was like, I don't want to drive around animals. What if I hurt them? So I picked the Backlot Tour, and I so regret it because that ride sucked ass. And the team, which, you've seen Happy Land, that pilot is based a lot on the people that I worked with there. So, I mean, the most accurate one was Hyacinth. There was like a theater kid who worked with, who I ended up like actually becoming friends with by the end. But there was another kid. They had their own clique, right? So they never invited me to anything, and they'd always talk loudly about parties they were all having with themselves, but didn't invite me. Of course,
yeah.
But there was the one kid who was into anime and anime music and shit, and so like when we get together, just me and him, we'd be like, "Oh yeah, man, listen to this album. Yo, this is dope. I'll let you borrow it." But then when he was in the group, he'd be like, yeah, whatever. I don't know you."
So this is Harley from Happy Land.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But Harley's kind of a combination of two people, because there was another guy who was like the cool guy, and he wore like a leather jacket and shit when he wasn't working and stuff, and he was like, "Oh, man, I've been here for a long time, whatever."
who probably was like 22 or something.
Yeah, it's like they're all working the backlot tour. Like they're all weirdos. Like it's not like nobody's gonna be like, "Whoa, dude, you're cool." Right. But there's one character that we wrote in the original pilot that we didn't actually get around to putting in, and he's the lifer, who in my park was this tall guy who had a twin, and they both worked at Disney. So sometimes for a goof, they would do each other's switch shifts. Like the most fucking stereotypical twin shit you've ever heard.
How old-ish at this point?
I believe they were in their late 30s, early 40s.
Oh, okay.
They were true lifers.
Yeah.
If you work there, there's a raise structure. So no matter what you do, after a certain amount of time, you get a raise. So if you work there for 20 years, you're making a pretty substantial amount of money. So that's what they did.
Because I was going to ask, like, what's the best job? That's not like in the corporate offices or whatever. Like if you're in the park and the guests are seeing you, what is the best job you can get?
Either a performer, like a show performer, like an acrobat or something, in like the Indiana Jones show or something.
Oh, really?
Or a face character, probably, right? The face characters are pretty well.
So like the only two jobs that you don't have to smile at in the park is Hollywood Tower Hotel and Haunted Mansion. Every other job, there's someone walking around in plain clothes outfits who will see you not smiling at your job and like look at you and be like,
really?
And, like, yeah, remind you to smile. But if you work in those two positions, you don't have to smile.
Right, because you're supposed to be gloomy. Yeah.
But if I had to pick a role, I think I would want to be one of the VIP tour guides.
That's what I was going to guess, actually. Yeah. That was my guess, because it's like,
that's a great job.
It seems
you
so
get
cushy.
To walk around with
celebrities or just like really like chill people who have interesting lives, I'm assuming. But it just seems like you just get to hang out and go on rides and just make sure they're having a good day, which sounds fun.
Yeah.
The one time I did the VIP tour, which was with you guys, I was like, whoa, this is pretty fucking sweet. Not only as an experience, but it also seemed like the guide could actually talk and be kind of a human being rather than just play some role.
Oh yeah, we're chill. I'm sure there are some families who are like, we want you to like maintain the magic at all times, but
oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We always get guys that don't give a shit, and we're just like, I mean, they're awesome because of it, but we can just chat about
they
whatever.
Usually let us do cool stuff. Yeah.
I would not say any of the ride stuff because, even if you do work like Haunted Mansion or whatever, and you have those benefits, when you work a ride, you have to do every position in rotation.
Oh, really? Oh, shit.
Yes. So like if you do Haunted Mansion, for example, it'll be like you work a certain part of the queue, then you work load in for the elevator, and then you do load in for after the elevator, and then you do load in for the actual dune buggies, and then you do load out for the dune buggies, and then you would just rotate that the whole day, and you do ride operation where you're actually pressing the buttons and shit. So you end up doing like 6 jobs every day, which like I guess switches it up a little bit, but like most of them are very boring.
I bet, yeah.
You're just standing around like sweeping.
I mean, if you're just putting people into cars or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, load sucks because it's always like you're wrestling with people because you're like, I need 3. And then they're like, 1? And it's like, no, I need 3.
And there's some kid that's
3?
That always seemed thankless. There's always some kid who won't get into the fucking car or whatever.
There's all the kinds of weird things too. There's like the Disney point, and like you can only point with 2 fingers like that.
I still do the Disney point.
Yeah, a lot of people can't get it out of their system.
It's 2 fingers.
2 fingers. I mean, with or without the thumb.
Thumb up is a gun. You just do this.
Because 1 finger can be offensive in some languages.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The inside joke, which isn't true, but the inside joke is that it was Walt. He was a chain smoker, so he was always pointing like this because he had a cigarette in his hand.
Uh-huh. Got it.
I've never heard that one. That's a good one.
I was always thrown off. I had a couple, British instructors over the years and then ended up in England that British people often point to stuff with their middle finger.
Yeah.
And the first time it happened, I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Some math lecture. And the guy's like, and if we integrate this, and I was like, is this a bit?
They're secretly flipping you off. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it became a formative part of my psyche, obviously, because I would go through hours at a time of getting flipped off. So I remember the thumb down thing. I had this book called You Ought to Be Me by Bud E. Love, who was a lounge singer character that this guy's real actual name. My parents had this growing up and then I just stole it from them. And in the book, it's all about like how to be smooth, basically, which obviously didn't really work. But he said something that has always stuck with me, which is if you point at someone, with the thumb up, it feels indecisive. But it's like, am I pointing at you? I don't know. Maybe I'm pointing up. Who the fuck knows? But if you point at someone with the thumb down, it feels like you've locked it in. Right. And for whatever reason, I read this book probably when I was 14 or 15, and it's very comedic. It's not like an actual advice guy. It's not like some pickup artist bullshit. Like, it's all a bit. But this one bit of like, lock the thumb down, because that's how, a real lounge singer points, has always stuck with me. It's good advice. And now when I point, it's that in do you know the improv phone? The improv phone rule?
No.
So number one rookie mistake, if you're, in an improv scene or whatever, you answer a phone, is doing this.
Brian is doing the thing where he's pretending his thumb and pinky are a phone handset, but forgot to say that due to his lack of professionalism.
You have to hold it, right?
You have to hold it because it's not a phone. Like, pick up the phone where, depends. Is it now it's a brick, but if it's like a home phone, older phone, you're like holding the receiver. What do you call it? Whatever. It's like a pet peeve among comedians. If someone is on stage and they're like, hello, you could hear murmurs of disapproval go throughout the audience because it's like,
did that. Oh my God.
I can't believe it. But it's also one of those things, I think about this sort of thing a lot, where it's like, who the fuck actually cares about this? You've just defined a weird in-group rule and are using that to pass quick judgment on people who are not like in that group. And ultimately, like, do I care if someone does that? Probably it's going to tweak me a little bit, but only because like it's been so ingrained. But ultimately, it's just one of these quote unquote rules that don't actually matter.
A faux pas.
Yes. Feels like it's used more to exclude people. You didn't know that?
Yeah. I don't care about that shit. I mean, I'll do it comedically if I'm on camera or whatever, but like in real life, I don't give a shit. Like, do whatever you want. I used to be very pedantic about like pronunciation and like culinary versus culinary or whatever, but that was growing up when I was an angry child, and now it's like, I get what you said. I know what you said. You don't have to say it right.
100%. I think you guys know I listen to a lot of like linguistics things, and read a lot about that. Yeah. And the one thing that linguists will say all the time is it's just about, do you know what the intention is? And if you do, they might be doing a thing that is, indicative of whatever culture or subculture they're from.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not wrong. It's just the thing these people, in that group do. So take it seriously because it's not wrong. It's just how a certain person or people speak. But the other thing is that if the meaning is clear, who fucking cares? Like, you don't need to judge people based on how they speak. That's to be a little blunt, that's kind of a tool of oppression, is to be like, well, you're not speaking properly.
Oh, shit.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a position of privilege. You have the knowledge.
That's right. It's important to know how to speak properly if you want to like move in those certain, if you're a lawyer, you should know how to write legal stuff, right? Because those are the circles you move in. So you should be aware of how people speak at elevated levels or wherever you want to go. That doesn't mean that speaking a different way is wrong. A lot of it is just bullshit.
I mean, this is just showing that knowledge is power, kids. Read those books.
That's right.
I was in like a computer class in like middle school, and they gave us this sheet that was just a bunch of random words. And then they were like, what do these words mean? And the whole class was just like befuddled because it was just random words. And the answer was that if you read them out loud, it kind of sounded like Hansel and Gretel or some shit. It was like, once upon a time, there was and it was supposed to be this experiment that's like, oh, computers would never know this, but humans could figure it out.
So it would be like, if it was once upon a time, it would be like ones.
Yeah, it was like once pond term or something like that.
Yeah.
But if you say it really fast, it sounds like the story.
Right.
I was always fascinated by that because I was like, I think we're at the point now where computers probably could figure that shit out.
Computers could definitely figure that out.
You mumble lyrics of a song into your phone and it can figure it out.
Although today I was trying to get Siri to play something because I was driving with Audrey and I was trying to get it to understand a very simple thing I was saying, and it could not even get close. So, and when you're driving with a kid and you ask for a song and it starts playing some other song, you don't know necessarily what's going to be in that song. And, sometimes those songs go hard right away and you have to like lunge for the volume. But my point is, the speech recognition thing is really interesting to me. I know dictation software is now pretty great, but some of the like fucking phone voice recognition seems remarkably shitty. And I don't know if that's because it's processing it through, the internet or whatever, or it's just bad.
It seems like those things are getting worse, especially autocorrect.
Weirdly, right?
First of all, second word R. The autocorrect on typing seems like it's really, really bad lately.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I just turn off autocorrect. I don't have autocorrect on anything I have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I hate it.
I didn't even know you could do that.
It's an option, at least in, Google Docs or whatever. You can turn it off.
I don't know if you've ever had it on, but you can relate to this maybe. It hates the word tour. Like, I literally own a touring company, and I say tour so often over text. Yeah. And it still is like, did you mean your? I'm just going to change it to your. And it's like, tour is a word. In the context of this statement, it makes way more sense than your.
I think it goes by like a ranking of like what is most likely what you said and then what people use most often. And then they go with it.
But I feel like it should learn about your speech patterns, right?
Yes.
It does, I think.
Yeah, it should be trained on your voice and what you say. I remember, at least in early word processors, when you would run a spell check, it would encounter words all the time it didn't know, but then you could add it to the dictionary, right? And it would learn it, right? And so if you were using proper nouns or whatever it didn't understand, you just put them in and then it can detect them. It should be the same sort of thing where it learns how you talk. Maybe it is doing that and it's just bad at it. But yeah, I turn it off. The other thing is its grammar filters are fucking awful.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm always like, I know what I mean. Like, I don't need your fucking help, computer.
Yeah, your squiggly blue underline.
It's so demeaning.
Offends me.
Especially when you can't figure out why.
Almost like 10 years ago, before Game Grumps, I had a work from home job. It was under NDA, so I can't say who it was for, but I would listen
was it Game Grumps?
No, not yet.
Before Game Grumps, it was for Game Grumps.
I would listen to audio recordings from people's text to speech and then transcribe them. And then I would just listen to hundreds and hundreds of these and then transcribe them and send them to this company. And they would just make sure that their computers were up to date with it. But I would hear the weirdest conversations, all kinds of sexting.
Such as?
Many conversations.
Do you remember
that
any?
like they were hiding a body. I can't remember any because it was just like, like a sentence out of a conversation.
Yeah.
Or like a minute to 3 minutes. But I don't think people knew that they had bits of their phone conversations recorded by major phone companies and that they were being played back and I was using them to train their AI essentially.
Weird. Feels like some stupid opt-out consent thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You showed me a lot of those. It didn't feel like stuff that people were saying actively into their phone. It felt like stuff that was like overheard. Because you would think a lot of it would be like, hey, what's the capital of Spain?
I don't know. Some of them were straight up phone conversations. Like you couldn't
exactly.
You couldn't hear the other person, but it was like they were like doing voice to speech text like type things.
Oh, right. Yeah. That was crazy. I mean, that was over a decade ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
And you would just sit at home transcribing.
Yeah. I mean, they would pay me by the batch and like each batch had like 10 to 20 clips. And then I would just listen to, it was a really cushy job. It paid nice. I mean, Wish I could say more about it, but that's all I can really because of the NDA.
Yeah, I think they just gave you like an FTP folder and you would just go down the list. And then when you were done, that was it.
Yeah. But yeah,
That's
I mean,
awesome.
so I'm sure they're still doing things like that to this day and still training the AIs. And I imagine that they have the capability to learn. I wonder if they aren't taking technology back a little bit, because I remember that the AirPod Max headphones, the really nice soundproofing ones, they recently had this like whole discussion about taking the soundproofing out of those or lessening them due to a lawsuit from Jawbone, that Bluetooth audio company. They were the ones who came up with that sound dampening technology. And I guess if you play a script in the Apple programming and hit a certain sequence of numbers and it comes out exactly the same as their programming.
Oh, so it's like evidence that they took the
stole
algorithm
their program
or something.
Yeah. So now that they are lessening the quality of the Apple Pro sound blocking because of that. So I wonder if learning has been taken out of AI capabilities in text-to-speech because maybe something just wasn't going right, or I don't know.
I mean, one thing in general that reminds me of with the AI conversation, obviously, I think Leighton and I talked about it briefly on here, but like AI art or AI writing or whatever, is you always hear people talk about, oh, a computer did it. But really what's happening with most of this stuff is a computer is barfing out like 100, let's say, images, and then a human is picking out 4 of them and being like, these are the only 4 good ones. And something that, you know, I feel like is missing from this conversation is that there's still, with a lot of these things, a very active human element. And it's not just like the computer is also automatically making awesome shit. If you put stuff into Chat GPT, have you guys tried that at all? Like the AI text program? Yeah. It's okay, but it's fucking clearly not a person. It's pretty dumb. I was using it for a thing the other day and I was like, what are 6-letter words for weapons? And the first thing it says is knife. And I'm like, you know, and I typed, no, it's not. And it just went, sorry. I'm like, okay, but fucking like.
At least you have humility.
Yeah, but it's like, what's one thing you should be good at? It's like counting characters, the most basic thing in all of computing. So there's still so much human choice or human action that has to be put into this stuff that I feel like not enough people talk about this in this.
It feels almost like a kid
conversation.
You're teaching a child and you're training them how to be. And I know it's like super controversial to talk about the AI art.
Sure. Just to be clear, we're all very pro AI art. Humans should be eliminated and computers should just draw everything starting now for the rest of time, right? Don't pay artists. That's the official Leighton Knight stance.
I don't agree with the AI artist, but also on the other hand, I think that they are very similar to humans if you look at it from a certain standpoint, because what they're doing is they're taking accumulation of their images they can find online and scraping them and creating new art, which is essentially what humans do, though. They also scrape content to create and get ideas and inspiration, and then that leads to a finished art piece. So in a way, I kind of think of AI as this like learning child who's just kind of doing what you're telling it to do. Yeah. So I don't think it replaces artists.
No, definitely not.
I think it's an interesting tool.
Yeah. And someone's going to do something pretty fucking rad with it at some point as a tool. What that's going to be, I don't know. But new tools yield new stuff.
I will say, as an artist, I can tell when I'm looking at a piece that's made by AI versus one that's made by a human. Like it's pretty obvious. So at least to me.
I don't think I have a good enough artistic eye. Although sometimes you look at stuff and you're like, whoa, nope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, have you seen the new AI generated images have started generating the Getty image logo in their pictures?
Really? Oh my God.
Yeah, that was how
really
Getty
funny.
figured out to sue them over it, because it was auto generating their logo.
That's fucking ridiculous. Did you ever see I forget who it was it Megan Amram or someone, I think, who was at some red carpet event and had a purse that said Getty Images on it that she would just carry around with her. So every picture of her had the Getty Images thing.
That's hilarious.
On it already.
Oh, that's so smart.
I thought that was great. I think it was Megan Amram, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff about AI art is the attitude that people who are making it have. It's very like anti artists, it feels a little bit.
And real like broy and annoying.
Yeah, it's like they're really rude, and then it makes artists feel really rude, and then it becomes this pissing match, and it's like, all right, you know, there's a lot of cool technology in this AI stuff. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do with it, but like, don't be like, we don't even need artists anymore, bro. And it's like,
right. Yeah.
You do.
Don't devalue someone's creative work and process, right?
Yeah.
I think it kind of comes down to that. This, you know, we don't need artists is maybe the dumbest thing you could possibly say. Like, no one actually, I guess some people think that.
I hope not. Yeah. I mean,
there's a lot of people that think that.
I guess there's a lot of people that think that. I do want to say, watching my ape collection get progressively lower in value has been a huge bummer over the last few weeks. So I'm hoping that turns around pretty soon.
Good luck.
Yeah, you know, those poor apes.
Those apes are fucking cool. What can I say? They look pretty bored right now. That's the only thing. So I'm hoping they get more excited.
I don't know how you could be bored on a yacht. That's really what's troubling to me about these apes.
Yeah,
but you know, oh God, art really imitates life. And just saying, just
because
like
of
we were
how
talking
bored
about,
like apes are in real life. Yes.
Yeah, just like how bored I am hearing you guys talk about your apes. I remembered, you know, we were just talking about the theme parks, and you know, it's really interesting seeing how Arin's turning that into a pitch for a new show, just from his like life experiences and turning that into art. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I realized we didn't actually say what Happy Land is, which perhaps we should have. So do you want to tell people what that is? Half an hour now since we talked about it.
Yeah. Third word recording. So we're doing, well, we did.
Did someone say the second word?
I did, yes.
You did? Oh, look at that. You slipped it past me. This is good.
It was very nonchalant.
I love it. I love it.
So we produced a pilot. It was written mostly by Ike McIntosh, who is a staff writer at Game Grumps.
A true degenerate.
Very, very messed up dude.
It's like Hunter S. Thompson times a billion with that guy.
He's wild.
If you've seen him, he shows up every so often in videos, but he's very
drunk.
He's a very cool dude. But he's a writer.
He's the best. Yeah.
And I wanted to give him an opportunity to write something, to head write something. And if the show got picked up, I would obviously be like, this guy needs to be attached.
He's a good writer, dude. I've been very impressed. Yeah.
Structurally. And he thinks like a cartoon sometimes, which is refreshing because I've worked with a lot of writers who write for cartoons who don't think like cartoons. They just think quippy jokes. But he comes up with scenarios and like physical things that are happening in scenes that are very like animation heavy, which is very cool. So obviously I was present for a lot of the script writing. It was my idea. I came up with the characters and the premise. The plot of the first episode was based on a real thing that happened to me. I ruined a piece of tram that I was driving.
Oh, I didn't know that. I had no idea that was a real thing.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'll tell you about that. But Lindsay and Alex Small Boo did the animation, and our boy Brian Wecht composed the music.
Yes, I did. And I love doing it. It's the first thing I scored.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And it was really, really fun to do it. That's something I wanted to do for a while. And I really appreciated the opportunity to write some music for it because I had a great time.
Yeah, it was awesome figuring out like the tone and like figuring out what works and what doesn't and stuff. When I make cartoons, I don't ever score it. Like I like silent cartoons with just dialogue and sound effects. They're just funnier to me. So when it came to doing music, I was like, how can we put this in and make my brain like this? And we got to that point, and I think it's fucking fantastic. So I'm really happy with the work that we all did.
Yeah, it's so much fun, getting in, seeing it go from the script to the final thing. That such a fun process that I really have not been a part of anything like that before. Filming like a fucking music video or whatever is a pretty different experience. But it was great. And that whole group of people rules. Lindsay and Alex are incredible.
Oh, yeah, they're the best.
Amazing talents.
They really are the best. And they're so sweet too. Like just such nice people. Yeah.
Ugh. By the way, fourth word, A.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
So the premise of the first episode is the main character named Slim Jim, who is sort of like the me analog, gets a job at this backlot tour ride. And it culminates in this moment where he basically crashes the tram that he's supposed to be driving with all these customers in it, or guests in it, because he wasn't trained properly, et cetera, et cetera. All that's true. I wasn't trained all the way. They ran out of time, and the guy who was training me was just like, whatever. And I didn't learn a position that was very important to learn.
To drive a thing.
I learned the driving part. It was the dispatch where you're like pressing the buttons and sending carts out.
And this is before you had like a driver's license, right? So you're driving a tram when you're too young to have a driver's license?
No, I had a driver's license.
Oh, okay.
So what happened was, sometimes just to keep the flow, because the backlot tour, there's like 3 different segments to it, right? There's like a show element, and then there's like the special effects element, and then there's the tram ride. So sometimes the special effects part goes a little long, and just the way that the trams move around the area, you just have to like send one out dry with nobody in it just to keep it going. Mm. So when you send it out dry, you still have to drive it like you're doing the tour at the same pace. And usually the spieler, they call them, who does the actual tour, just gets into the...
Spieler? Wow.
Yeah. They get into the cabin with you, and then you can just chat while you're driving. But there's a part of the ride called Catastrophe Canyon where you go in and there's this little show where like it's like, oh, what's happening? And everything goes, there's a tanker truck and it falls, and there's all these water elements and stuff, and it's supposed to be this big thing like, oh, we didn't plan this, but it was obviously planned. But before you go in, there's a little traffic signal that says if it's clear or not. This is just green and red. And as I was driving up, it was green.
The universal color for go ahead.
Yeah. I kind of looked away. We were kind of a distance away from it. I kind of looked away from it because I was talking to my spieler. And then when we got there, apparently it turned red. But I didn't see that. So I just drove in. And as I drove in, it was acting weird. And then you're supposed to park a certain way in the Catastrophe Canyon because each tram is supposed to line up with a panel that makes them like shake individually. Uh-huh. And I parked it perfectly. And I was like, fuck yeah, I nailed that. And then it didn't shake. And then the show didn't go off. And I was like, that's weird. And then I started hearing some chatter over the radio, which is rare. And then I started hearing a problem at the canyon. And I was like, uh-oh, that's where I am. And then they were like, oh, we have to shut down the ride. And I was like, oh, that's bad. And then they were like, damaged tram. And then I was like, what are they talking about? And so I looked back, and there was a giant scrape along the whole tram. And at the entrance of the canyon, there was like a pencil shaving of like the entire side of the tram just rolled up.
Can opener.
And what had
style.
happened was when the light turned red, the gate started closing, and it closed on the tram and just shaved the whole side of the tram off.
That wasn't your fault.
So we had to stop the ride for the day. I got to go home early, which is great.
For the day?
Yeah, but they didn't fire me. They just never let me drive again, which really pissed everybody off because it screwed with everybody's rotation for the day. Uh-huh. And they made me sign a bunch of paperwork. And on the paperwork, it said, you have done $15,000 worth of damage. You have to sign here to approve that is the case. And legally, that is something that you're aware of. So,
which means what? That they could like come after you for it? Or
I don't know.
Or maybe they just send that to the insurance company or whatever.
Yeah, sure. But it was amazing. I had to take like a mini class, and then they just put me back on the ride. And I don't know how I was not fired. I should have been 100% fired after that. But I still did it. And then after a while, I just got bored. And every time I spieled, I would spiel about something different. I mean, I would do the ride, but my last ride I did was all about Kenny Loggins. Uh-huh. So I was listening to a lot of Kenny Loggins at the time. So I was like making up shit about all the movie props where I was like, this movie prop actually was on the set of where Kenny Loggins wrote, I'm All Right. And then people caught on after like the 4th Kenny Loggins trivia. They were like, I don't know if this is real.
This is true.
But I didn't care anymore.
That's great. You would chalk this up at least partially to poor training. not poor driving?
No, that was entirely my fault. The tram damage was totally, I was not paying attention. And I was a kid.
Well, we got him, guys. You heard it. He admitted fault. So
don't send that check, Disney.
Go after him.
Yeah. Oh, no, because the thing I wasn't trained in was dispatch. So that's sending the cars out on their route. And one day we were short on people and I had to do dispatch. They would just rotate over it, which was like, yeah, well, all right. Because people like doing dispatch. You just stand around and press buttons. But I did dispatch one day and I was sending out cars at the wrong time and it was getting backed up. And then like guests were waiting in line and stuff. And then the lifer, he came up to me as I was doing dispatch and he like got all whispery and he was like, Arin, the way that you're operating things right now, I have to say, and he like looked around. He was like, it's making me a little pissed off. I was like, okay, dude.
That's awesome.
Sorry. And nobody would train me. There were days where I was like, will somebody train me how to do dispatch? And nobody would do it. So
seems like a flaw in the system, no?
Yeah. It was just like they gave me the one day to learn all the positions. And then after that, it was just like, you're on your own, kid. And I worked with the guy who trained me all the time. And I was like, can you just show me how to do dispatch? And he's like, no, not today.
Now I have this story in my head where, so what is this? 15 years ago?
Had to have been. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
15 years ago, I'm at this theme park. And this has happened like the day before. And some guy pulls me aside and he's like, it's time for the long con. Here's what I need you to do. Because this is exactly when NSP started. He's like, we need you to go to New York. We need you to find somebody to form a comedy band with. Now, it can't be successful right away. So you're going to wait until Arin has a successful channel. He's going to hire your partner in this band. And eventually, you're going to move to Los Angeles. Now, I need you to wait a little bit. Not when you work for him, but later. You're going to have to start a podcast. Wait until he writes a pilot about this. Asks you to do the music. Have him on your podcast to talk about this. Get him to admit this was his fault. And we will pay you $1 million.
To get our $50,000.
Yeah, to get our $15,000. Yeah, great.
Just got to get it on recording. Just got to get him saying
it. Happens.
And it's this montage of this process. Like, well, and now what I do now is I just walk. I don't even turn stuff off. Just drop the headphones, walk out on Rachel, drive, pick up a check.
I mean, yeah, you got to be careful.
I'm
sure you got that.
I'm off the grid.
We got him.
That's right. We got him. I think it's time to move on to segments.
Yeah, fifth word, new.
Oh.
The first segment in this show. Now, Suzy, you alluded to it before.
What's poppin'?
If you fucking steal my thunder once more during your tenure as guest co-host, I'm going to lose my mind. Also, what I like is that we heard you and then your echo in Arin's mic, which was really great. Really great. I feel
super bad for Jarek having to do this.
He's in another room right now. Yeah.
He's talented. He knows what he's doing. You know what? I guess I can just say the segment is What's Poppin'. It is our pop culture recommendation segment, which you both have participated in, Suzy, in your case, multiple times. You've been on the show twice or three times? Twice, right?
This is my third time now.
This is your third time, yeah. So you've heard what I would call What's Poppin' 1.0.
Okay.
Before, both in terms of the structure of the segment. Sorry, take a drink. The structure of the segment and the theme song for the segment.
Oh, yes.
You know, famously, as any historian, I'm talking to future historians here, I guess, when they're listening to this in 100 years. When people come back and listen to this podcast, they're not going to realize that we had 2 whole episodes of the show before we started doing the What's Poppin' segment. Actually, I realized I said doing the What's Poppin' segment. I meant to say when we started doing the What's Poppin' segment. I think it's important to keep that N apostrophe where appropriate. And on episode 3, we started doing it, and we kind of just fell into it. I don't think it was polished. It wasn't a full-fledged segment. It was just kind of a thing that we didn't realize what we were starting when we started it. And, we're past episode 150 now. I believe this is 152.
Wow. So you've done this bit 150 times now.
And I want to be clear about this. I've never done a bit. I don't do bits. Okay. I provide experiences for the listener.
It's amazing how you've had enough material this many times.
I also don't acknowledge the existence of material.
Okay.
I make art is what I do.
Well,
and so for 2023, sixth word Starbomb. For 2023, I've decided to go back and kind of reevaluate priorities, as I think is good to do periodically in one's life, and talk about what makes this segment work or not work, as the case may be. Although I think that, honestly, it's firing on all cylinders, so really there's nothing to say that it's not working. Mm-hmm. But we went back, me and Leighton, we sat down, we got a big thermos full of coffee, knew it was going to be a late night, and we sat down and just decided to go back to basics. We felt like there had been too many bells and whistles over the years. The introductions were getting like ridiculously long for whatever reason. And we decided to go back to what started working originally. We wanted to move past all the awards. We famously won a Segmenty last year for this segment. And yeah, it was a big deal. You probably saw it on our socials.
Is that in the background, or do you have that on the set?
You can't really see it right now. It's too big to fit inside the garage. So it's famously the biggest award you can get. It's a 10-foot tall solid plastic statue.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Why don't you just turn it over and put it in?
Well, it won't fit through the door. There's only so much one person can do. I'm not a magician.
Yeah, okay.
I'd love to be able to help you with that, but
it's been raining a lot, though. Isn't it getting tarnished or something?
It looks great. That's part of what, like a true podcast segment, you let the Segmenty Award develop over time and establish kind of a character of its own as it interacts with the elements.
It's very cool. It's very naturalistic of you.
Yeah, it's like a Goldsworthy sculpture. It's meant to interact with nature. So Leighton and I sat down, big thermos of coffee, a couple of legal pads, pencils, pencil sharpener, some really nice erasers, went to Blick, kind of got some good supplies. And we decided to take the segment back to its roots, so to speak, before all the glitz and the glamour and the fame and the awards and the money, the drugs, all that stuff. We decided to go back to what really was making it work originally. So what I want to debut tonight, brand new for 2023, is the completely reinvented What's Poppin' segment and theme song.
Oh.
Yep, we have a brand new theme song for 2023.
Debuting.
This is debuting. As has been the case in the past, you, Suzy and Arin, cannot hear the segment because we don't have the ability to play sound files. That technology does not exist yet. So you're not going to hear it. But what the listener is going to get is a full sonic experience. They're going to get something that, do you know what Dolby Atmos is?
Yeah.
Mixing. Yeah. So it's an 11 speaker kind of thing. It's best listened to in that format. You could do quadraphonic, although you're going to miss, of course, 7 out of the 11 speakers. I refuse to mix it down. I just cut them out.
Yeah. It'll be fine at 5.1, I think.
I think so too. I'm optimistic. It won't be my artistic vision for the theme song, but I think it'll be good enough for the casual listener. Although we don't have casual listeners because we have on purpose driven them away from this show.
Yeah.
So we're going to put the theme song for What's Poppin' 2.0. I was going to say 2.0, but let's call it 2.x.
2.x.
We're not going to do re-releases of this until we get to the
third
next one. And this is going to last until we get to 3. Whatever. So this is the pop culture recommendation segment where you get to talk about a book, a movie, a video game, something you've been enjoying recently. It's called What's Poppin', and the theme song goes 7th word album. Here.
What's poppin'?
What's poppin'?
Excellent.
Oh, man.
Great. All right. Suzy, what's poppin'?
So for me, I've been doing a lot of witchcraft stuff lately. So I know that I get a lot of questions from people online about where to start. So I wanted to recommend Uncle Bucky's Big Blue Book. And it's called The Complete Book of Witchcraft by Raymond Buckland. And it is a course on Wiccan and witch things. And I really recommend it to people if anyone's interested in the occult or learning more, or even if you don't want to be a witch or involved in the occult, if you're just interested in what else is out there. That's how I got into it.
Uncle Bucky's, you said?
Yeah. Uncle Bucky's Big Blue Book is what they call it in the witch community.
Wow.
That's awesome.
But yeah, books are portals into knowledge and power, and you should totally open each one and look in because you never know what you're going to be interested in. I promise you guys will find all kinds of cool things out there.
Damn.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Like a book PSA going on over here.
Hell yeah. Reading is fun.
Fundamental.
Thank you. Thank you.
I too have been reading. I'm reading a book called Food for Life. It's written by a fellow named Tim Spector. It's not even technically out yet. It's on ebook. It hasn't been printed yet. But it's this guy who he started an organization called Zoe. It's like a lot of food science research because we don't do a whole lot of that, surprisingly. So he's really using a lot of the data that exists and performing experiments that can have conclusive evidence on what certain foods do to our bodies. And with the main takeaway being that, like, everything that you put in your body is important. It matters. It's not just calories in, calories out. It's not just fat content. It's not just sugar content. It all affects your gut microbiome in a way. And the gut microbiome can be considered its own organ of your body.
That gut microbiome stuff is fascinating. And it feels like we're just starting to really understand it.
Pretty much, yeah. So since I've been boxing, today was the announce for Creator Clash. I'm in the second Creator Clash.
I saw that.
So I have to go down in weight quite a bit, which I already have, but I did that sort of a more traditional way, and it was difficult. Right now, I'm actually just eating whole foods, and I'm not even really watching what I eat in terms of like calories.
That's like donuts, bagels, things like that, right?
Right. Yeah. Cake,
Snickers,
pizza.
Reese's.
Right. Yeah.
So everything that I've been eating has been whole foods, and I've just been shredding weight off. And I'm so healthy, and I have so much energy. It's crazy. But one of the rules, the guidelines of the book is that you should have at least 30 plants a week, 30 different plants to create a diverse microbiome that like regulates your immune system and everything. And so I hit like 35 today, which was super dope.
Look at you.
Yeah, I know. And we're not even fucking halfway through the week. Come on. So it's been awesome. It's been awesome. This experience and everything that I've learned from this book has been like super helpful. And it's been really easy too. One of the things about like eating processed foods, hyper processed foods, is you get hungrier and you crave more things. Yeah. And since I've been eating whole foods, I've just been like, oh, it's time to eat, and I'll eat and then I'll be done. Great. And then I won't be hungry anymore. It's awesome. Highly recommend this book.
I always like the Michael Pollan saying, eat food, not too much, mostly plants. That's like his his food saying. That always seemed to make a lot of sense. It's pretty basic, but hard to do.
I mean, it really opens your eyes too, because since I've been more particular about it, if we do eat out or something, I'm ordering stuff where I'm like, okay, well, I'm not just going to go for the fucking burger. What do they have here that has like plants in it? And some of this shit's just been like the most delicious shit I've ever eaten. So it's good to have that kind of diversity. And if you're not a book reader, you can just go on YouTube and look up Tim Spector. He's done a ton of interviews and a ton of talks, which give you the gist of what the book is.
Oh, and by the way, eighth word is in.
In. Oh.
In.
Interesting.
Suzy asked me what's poppin'.
Yeah, what's poppin', Brian?
Well, thank you. What's poppin' for me, and I think this is a first on this show, is an app.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it's not a game. It's just it's like I guess a wellness app, you might call it. A friend of mine who's like very mindfulness kind of guy was posting about it yesterday, and I installed it and I was like, where has this been all my life? It's called 1 Sec. Like 1 second, 1 sec. Do you know about this?
No.
Here's what you do. You install it, and on your phone, you put a shortcut so that, and it's pretty straightforward to do, although it's a little, it's a multi-step process, but it took me 30 seconds to figure it out because I'm really fucking smart. So you go through your shortcuts on your phone, and every time you open up, pick your favorite social media app, it routes it through this app 1 sec, which just has a little kind of screen that goes up. It says, take a deep breath. And then it goes down. And then it asks you, do you really want to open Twitter or whatever?
Oh, that's awesome.
And I've had this installed for 1 day now. I open up Twitter. This thing starts going up. And I'm like, fuck, nope, I'm out. Not doing it. Not looking. Wow. And then twice did I like click through to look at something. And it's so simple. It is so simple. Yeah. And it's just a moment of reflection of like, do I really want to look at this right now? And the answer nearly always is no, it was just like a stupid habit, or I'm like wasting time or whatever. Also one of those like fucking wake up calls where I was like, how many times did I reach for that? Oh my God. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah. It's muscle memory. Yeah. You don't even realize you're doing it.
100%. So you can put it through any app you want. You put the shortcut. You have the shortcut, at least not an iPhone. It's like when you open app X, first open app Y or whatever. I'd never opened this like shortcuts thing on my phone before. I didn't even know it existed. It's like little macros or whatever. And you just route it through that. And it was so great. So amazing. I recommend it to, if you want to cut down on your social media use, which every single person I know does.
Yeah.
I could not recommend it highly enough. I don't know anything about the company, blah, 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 blah. But what the app does is great. And I've probably, instead of looking at Twitter, 20 times in the last day, I think twice. Which
that's amazing. That's worth it.
is great.
Yeah, I feel like adding the sort of reflective moral quandary is, because I've been doing that thing where you can put in the screen time, you can say like, I don't want to look at this app for more than 15 minutes or whatever. And then when time is up, it's just like, you can't do this anymore. But there's little buttons on the bottom that's like, just 1 more minute, or like just 15 more minutes.
It's too easy to click.
And I'm always just like, whatever, 15 more minutes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then it became as much of a reflex as opening up the fucking app.
Exactly.
So like click those 1 more minute, 15 more minutes. Like it didn't do me any good because it's too easy. It's too easy to click.
Yeah. There are the moments where it comes up and it blocks me out and I'm like, all right, that's a good point.
Rare though for me.
But this thing when you open it up and it's just like, do you really want to fucking look at somebody else's time? It's like, no, I don't. No.
Well, and what I found is in 1 day of using it, the moment that like take a deep breath thing comes up, I am just to close it and walk away. Like, nope, I don't even need to see the option because it takes like 2 seconds of waiting, which what a shock when you reflect on it for even 2 seconds. You're like, fuck no, I don't need to look at Twitter right now. I'm not doing that. It's great.
That's incredible.
I love it.
Amazing.
So it is time for our next segment. Now, Suzy, we didn't discuss this, but would you like to, as my co-host, would you like to introduce the next segment that's coming up here?
Well, okay. I know that on your last episode without Leighton, you skipped it. But in memory of Leighton, I would totally like to reinforce it and bring it back.
Great. Good.
And that would be the segment of Peaches and Lemons.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want to start for us, Brian, and tell us your Peaches and Lemons?
I would. For the uninitiated, can you describe what Peaches and Lemons is?
Yes. So everybody has your own peaches and lemons. Your peaches are going to be the things that make you happy and bring you joy in your life, whatever you are showing gratitude for. And your lemon is going to be something that really ruins your day, ruffles your jimmies, gets your goat. You get the idea.
Peaches and lemons. Peaches and lemons.
You know what, Suzy? So what we have traditionally done is we all do our lemons and then we all do our peaches. Mm-hmm. However, we can do whatever you like. You can mix it up if you want. You're the co-host now. You get to decide. Do you want a lemon and then 3 peaches per person? How do you want to run this?
Let's do everyone's lemons first, and then we'll do peaches after that to make everybody feel better. You know, it's like one negative and two positives, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got a lemon for us, Brian?
I do. It is the most minor thing. There's a certain streaming service I use where, I'll open it up on a browser and it'll say, give me a sign in option. And then I click sign in, but it already knows who I am. I'm not signing in. It goes right to the whose profile is it, mine or Rachel's? And I'm like, look, I'm going to drop a name here. Fucking HBO, you're screwing enough shit up already with all the stuff you're doing. If it's going to be a sign in, make it a sign in. Like, I'm signed in. You know who I am. I'm not putting a password in. Don't call it sign. What is this? Just go right to the page. Whose profile? It drives me insane every time because I'm expecting to log in. There's a certain amount of like emotional investment I have. I'm going to have to put in my password, open up the password, all that stuff. Like, I just don't get it. So like, take me right to that whose profile is it page. If you already know who I am, don't make me sign in again. That's my lemon. It's just a waste of fucking time and it's disrespectful.
Yeah, that's the rage I'm talking about. What about you, Arin? What's your lemon?
My lemon is that I have been doing a lot of boxing training. And one of the things that we did to ramp up the boxing training was running. I would run uphill and I started getting really, really good at it. And it was just skyrocketing.
You and Kate Bush, of course.
My cardio, it was the best thing that I was doing for my workout period. I was going 5 sparring matches like without even losing breath. It was the coolest shit ever. And jump roping as well. I developed Achilles tendonitis as a result of it. Oh. So I can no longer run or do anything that involves the ball of my foot hitting the ground rapidly. So I hate it. And I've been doing all kinds of stuff to get over it. I got these ice socks that you wrap around your feet. And they're cold as shit. And they are agony every time I put them on. I got anti-inflammatory cream. Part of why I changed my diet was because of this. I didn't want any inflammation in anything that I was eating. And I just now started steroids to help healing, like medical steroids, not like injecting steroids.
There is truly nothing more frustrating than the being in a workout regimen that's going really well and then injuring yourself and being like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
You're on the track for wellness and then you hurt yourself trying to do well. Yeah, that's not fair.
Yeah. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm not doing well at we found other ways to do the cardio and I'm like coughing and wheezing. But the running, man, it was fun. I liked it. It was nice to see the number go up.
Yep.
It was just like, it was perfect. And that darn Achilles tendonitis sucks ass. That's my lemon.
Yes,
wow, Arin. That's a good one. That's a really good lemon. My lemon is just, it's a really bad one. I know that, Brian brought the rage with his and you had a real medical issue with yours. But my lemon is something that I know a lot of other people can relate to. And it's a big issue. And it is that there are 280 days until Halloween still.
Yes.
And it's
a lot of people
sad.
struggle with this.
I'm like listening to Halloween playlists. Like I'm trying to drag myself out of bed. There's no pumpkin spice in any stores anymore. Like how am I supposed to go? Like there's no motivation. I have no drive. Like
we just threw away our pumpkins like 2 days ago.
I know. Like, yeah, no more pumpkins. No more Halloween. Got to wait 280 more days. That's a bummer. That's my lemon right now.
I love it. It is a bummer.
That's the best lemon there is.
All right. But you know what? That's okay. We don't have to be sad. Like, Brian, we're going to go around to some peaches. Do you have 2 or 3 peaches to share with us? Maybe we can get over the sourness.
I do. Peach number 1. Is this what I want to talk about?
Speaking of 1, that's our 9th word. 1.
What? 9th word.
One more word.
I'm not going to repeat it. Peach number 1 went on a field trip with Audrey's school today. I was one of the parent chaperones who went to Descanso Gardens in Pasadena.
Ooh, I love Descanso Gardens.
It's a great place. It was a joint 3rd grade and kindergarten trip because the 3rd graders have kindergarten buddies. And it was very cute. And the kids had a great time. And it was just fun to just chat with other parents, see cute kids being cute. The most popular part was the koi pond in the Japanese garden. And the kids were all like making up the backstory of these koi. and how they were in love and everything. It was great.
You got to do the light up the night shit at Descanso Gardens, by the way.
We've been to the holiday lights, and those are fucking great. Like, it's very, very impressive. Peach number 2. While Leighton is out of town for a little bit, we are babysitting Maybe at our place.
Oh.
And we get to spend time with a lovely little dog, the dog sit. So I think that's great.
She's a noble little beast. Yeah.
Yes, she is. I love her. And my third peach is we have, can I say this? This is a big announcement. We have finished writing the next Ninja Sex Party album.
Oh my God.
As of yesterday.
Several big reveals in this episode. Holy
yeah,
cow.
that one I just dropped in your lap right there. I would never space to reveal that big out.
Gosh.
So we are on track for a new NSP original album this year.
Oh, that's amazing.
Literally as of yesterday.
Can you give us any hints?
Well, actually, you know what? Here's something I'll say. We're going to have a new music video out in a couple of weeks. New original song. And
that soon?
With that soon, we're going to drop a single and we'll announce the album title and everything with that. So
that's awesome.
Amazing.
Congratulations. I can't wait.
All right. Those are my peaches. Suzy.
So if you guys don't know, I run a store called Psychic Circle Oddities, and it's been doing pretty well. That's one of my peaches. I love my store, working on that. Very grateful for that. My other peach is that my cats are healthy. Love my kitties. I have 3 cats. You can find them on my Instagram at Mortimer. And then my third peach is
These are fast peaches. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I got to get into the third one. I got a 3D laser cutter.
You did not.
Called a Glowforge. And it is for cutting and engraving wood and just basically making anything that you can imagine. So I've been having a lot of fun with that and just like making things for my store. And like I can make things like, say, for example, a Ouija board. Like I could just like cut the wood and then wood burn all of the letters on it and stuff. So it's just, it's magic in a box. Yeah, I love it. So that's one of my peaches. All of my peaches.
Fantastic. I love it. Arin, close us out here with 3 peaches.
3 whole peaches. First peach, went to the doctor the other day. That wasn't the peach. The peach was the results. Damn, he said I was an A.
An A? Wow.
Oh, yeah. Got the blood tests, got everything done. And he was like, you are one of the healthiest people I've ever had in here.
What?
There's nothing wrong with you. You are in tip-top shape. Your cholesterol is outstanding. Everything is great.
Look at you. In the prime of life, too.
I was on cloud 9 for the rest of the day because of that. I was like, I'm healthy as shit. I fucking texted my parents and I was like, thanks for giving me good genes, baby.
I love it.
I voice to texted it and I had to rewrite jeans because it thought my parents gave me a pair of blue jeans. Second peach, I have committed to that I am making pasta from scratch tomorrow.
Look at you.
And I'm very excited about that.
By hand or with a maker?
Well, both, I guess. I mean, you do a lot by hand, but then, I do have a noodle knife, so I could cut them myself.
You could.
But I was thinking of just using the cranky machine thing.
You and God.
Yeah. So that's going to be fun. Get a little semolina, turn it into a nice pasta dough, flatten it out, cut it into little strands, and I was going to dry it, but I didn't really have time tonight, so maybe I'll do it in the morning tomorrow or something. I don't know. Anyway, point is, it's going to be fucking delicious.
Yes, it is.
So that's my second peach. And my third peach is Creator Clash was announced today.
Hell yeah, it was.
And that was very exciting. All the fighters are so excited, and we were all rooting each other on.
I saw Alana versus Mika, right? Yeah.
That's the fight I'm most anticipating, honestly. I think that's going to be the craziest fight.
Marisha Ray is fighting from Critical Role. Who's she fighting against?
Haley, Yodeling Haley.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, she fought last year. Yeah, there's just so many creators coming back from last year and then new ones. And I think there's 3 different women's fights this time. So, yeah.
Great.
It's going to be really big. I can't wait to see it. Yeah. It was so much fun last year. I did not think that I would enjoy it as much as I did. So if you're not a boxing fan, you will still enjoy it. I can promise you that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, all the fights are so interesting and fun and strange. And I think this year it's going to be even more. There were a couple fights last year that like they were a little mismatched. I wouldn't know anything about that. But this year I feel like they're all pretty even. Although I'm of course going to obliterate Jarvis, just absolutely destroy his face. So that'll be the only mismatch.
It is known.
Right. That's just because of talent.
Yeah. I'm stronger. I'm faster. Quite frankly, more handsome. So, bring it on, Jarvis.
It's not a lie.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we're going there. We're going full on Andre the Giant.
We got Son of John versus Son of Hans. So this is going to be some real epic stuff.
Indeed.
Amazing.
Let me ask the question that everybody was thinking about. Is there a Dad Matt Watson rematch this time
So
around?
Dad this year is fighting AB, who AB fought Hundar and lost. So it is a winner versus a loser match, which is very interesting. And I think this is a really good matchup. I've fought Dad before. I have not fought AB, but he showed a lot of his fighting ability in that ring. And it's been, 4 or 5 months since that. So I think it's going to be a really interesting show.
Is it at the same location as last time, or is it moving elsewhere?
No, it is the same company. So last year it was the Yingling Theater, still a Yingling Theater, but it's called the Amelie Arena. It's a 20,000 seater, the same capacity as Madison Square Garden. So
in Tampa?
Yes, it is in Tampa.
That's crazy, dude.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. Apparently there's 2 working Tesla coils in this venue.
And who's going to use one as a weapon? That's great.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, listen, this was a fantastic episode of Late Night with Brian Weck. Suzy, thank you for stepping in as a co-host for a run of episodes here. This is the beginning, but we're going to do a lot more fun ones.
It's my pleasure.
Arin, thank you for being back
Yes,
on the show. Now, normally, Suzy, Leighton ends the episode. So as co-host, I'm going to give you the opportunity to close us out here in any way you see fit.
I just want to say, I hope everybody has an amazing time living your lives. I hope that you guys do things that bring you joy, that nourish yourselves, and have fun with your inner child and enjoy other people. And also the last word in our sentence is month. There we go. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you next time on Late Night.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Late Night is produced by Brian Wecht, Leighton Gray, and Jarek Centeno. Follow us on Twitter at Leighton Night, on Instagram at Leighton_Night, or email us at leightonnight@gmail.com.